He's putting together a telescope.
Oh, I was going to say, is he filming us doing?
Yeah. This is actually from Kate and Craig.
Oh, wow.
So she brought it over, I don't know, a couple weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
So maybe you guys have better luck because you have more sky space than they do. So I thought I'd try it tonight.
We have a pretty good access.
What's there to watch? What's there to look at right now?
Everything Jupiter. So we were out a couple nights ago on the deck and we could see Jupiter. And I think we saw 3 of its moons with the binoculars. So if we have a telescope, you'll be able to see probably more. And then I finally downloaded an app where you can look at the sky and it tells you what you're looking at, which is pretty cool. So then we could find, different things.
Galaxies. We were
Exactly.
looking at galaxies.
So you can see stuff with the binoculars, but I think it'll be fun to do the telescope.
It's amazing to what you can see with just a small telescope. We were setting Peter's up the other night. Last night it was too cloudy, but we're going to go back out again tonight to see if we can find Jupiter and Saturn.
Yeah,
Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, we looked at them a couple nights ago. It was basically almost due south, and you could see both of them easy. And in between is Pluto right now.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's so beautiful.
I don't know if we'll be able to see Pluto. We couldn't see Pluto with our binoculars. I don't know with a telescope if you can.
But
I don't know. Peter would know the answer to that question.
Yeah, Chris has got a little bit of knowledge about that as well. So it's kind of fun to.
Oh, that's great. Did you study astronomy, Chris?
No, I had a brother-in-law that was really into it, and he just taught me. I knew my dad knew some stuff like the Big Dipper, Little Dipper. But then he taught me other constellations. And then back in Michigan, it was pretty dark where my mom's at. And he's like, oh, if you go off Cassiopeia, which is, I call the W. So he names them and I'm like, okay, it's the W. If you look away from it, you can see a galaxy. And then there's some other places you can look for them. And my mom's place, it was pretty much 360. The horizon was, there were some trees, but not a lot. So you could see to the south almost everything.
That's incredible. I just love doing that.
Yeah, we're limited here, but
we are
better than,
But we have a really great, direct view for Jupiter. It was so bright the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that kind of made me crush on Peter a little bit when we first met, was his astronomy knowledge.
That kind of girl, huh?
You want to go out and look at the stars?
That's awesome.
Oh, that's sweet.
Well, and think about it, it's up there all the time, clearly, but we don't really consider it a whole lot in our daily life anymore, where they, and just to think of how they figured out, like the North Star, we were talking about how it's not very bright, but you figured out over years, that star never moves.
It's always in the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think things like that.
But it would be hard, if you were to just drop me out in Eastern Oregon and have me point out the North Star, I can do it now, but before, if you didn't know where it was, where to find it, it would take you a long time to figure out, okay, that star is always in the same spot year round.
Mm-hmm.
It's really different from being here in the valley and then going out to where you can see so many stars. It's almost disorienting. There's just so much stuff that you can't find what your eye normally wants to find.
No, that's what we noticed when we were in the Ochocos, that it's not as dark where our parents grew up, or where we grew up with our parents. It's brighter there now, but in Eastern Oregon, you look up and I forgot how many stars are in the Milky Way. It's just tons.
Yeah,
that's what I think too. You forget.
Yeah,
exactly.
When we were in New Zealand a few years ago, an interesting thing is we were looking at the Milky Way. We're in these really dark areas. And I'm like, why is it dark there? I'm like, there's a dark spot in the Milky Way. And I had no idea, but apparently there's what they have a big dust cloud down there. It's called the Oort cloud.
Yeah.
And so it's in between us and the edge of the galaxy, and it blocks out a huge spot of it. It's really obvious because it's just
That's where Comet Neowise origin is supposedly the Oort cloud. That's where a lot of those things originate.
What was the comet name?
Neowise, the one you guys were looking at.
Neowise. Oh, yeah, Neowise.
I didn't know that it came from.
Yeah, that's what Peter told me. So I'm guessing
yeah.
that's correct.
Well,
He's
Look it up
still,
and prove him wrong.
still dropping that star knowledge on you.
It never ends.
Well,
Has he
it's
traveled to the southern hemisphere to take a look at the southern skies?
Well, he's Australian, so he grew
Oh,
up.
that's right.
looking
He's
at-
Australian.
at
I
the
totally,
southern
as soon as I
sky,
said that,
so-
I was like, I think maybe he is from that hemisphere. Yeah, so he had to learn both of them, I guess, right? Because as a kid,
He
would
did,
have
but he
grown up with
studied
something
astronomy
different.
for 2 years, so he had a really good idea of the whole of the globe and the heavens.
Mhm.
Like I said, see, it kind of turned me on a little bit.
Mhm.
That would be pretty interesting to be with someone like that. I mean, my brother-in-law knew some, but he didn't study astronomy for 2 years. So, I mean, Peter's probably got this vast knowledge that, we're just looking at stuff. Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's been rereading one of his books recently, this big fat, some kind of Burnham's Guide to the Galaxies or something like that. And just looking for stuff that we can find this time of year. Because, I mean, we're all so stuck right where we are that we might as well take whatever chances we have to see how far away we can look, what we can find, something new.
Yeah.
It's very Star Trek sounding, isn't it?
Yeah. It's really cool. Yeah.
So hopefully it stays clear tonight and we'll try to do it.
Yeah.
Is yours programmed, or does he like have to manually find stuff?
He made his own telescope years, gosh, he's had it for a while, and he recently bought some new lenses that will allow us to see more things. He's trying to calibrate them right now. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's a super, super unwieldy thing. It's giant. It's made from one of those cement tubes. That's what I call them.
Wow.
You have to paint it black on the inside, and then he ground these mirrors.
Wow.
I know.
What's it mounted on?
It's mounted on the base is wooden,
Mhm.
and he used this, like a piece that it looks like a Lazy Susan underneath, and it's coated in Teflon, so it spins around smoothly, and then so it can tilt like this, and then it can spin around like that.
Wow.
Wow.
Nerd. We should have a star viewing party one night. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
Just to get out all the telescopes everybody has and set them up somewhere in a pitch black field.
Mm.
I know
Yeah,
they
you could do that with social distancing easily.
Yeah, it'd be easy.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't look at other people's telescopes. Usually when they do
You have to
that,
be hands-free, and then you have to wipe it down with their Clorox wipe afterwards.
because when you have a bunch of those telescopes, they're all looking at different things usually. So you can look at, Jupiter or the moon or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you get to see Saturn's rings?
Oh, not with the binoculars. We'll see with this thing. I'm assuming with the telescope we'll be able to see it.
I hope so. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's a
man.
big, it's, I don't know, C-130, if that means anything. It's about that big in diameter and 2 feet long. So, I mean, with the binoculars, we couldn't see it.
No, you can't. I mean, I could see Neowise with the binoculars. That was amazing. That photo that I took was with an iPhone. That's ridiculous.
Wow.
Ah.
Yeah,
Did you guys
it was
get that
really-
from in town?
We actually went up to, there's a junior high school up at the end of our street, and there's a big field behind it, and it's just dark enough so that we were able to see it just above the horizon. Because we have so many fir trees around here, it's really hard. If anything's low on the horizon, you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just going to cut them all down.
Don't worry, Lake Oswego is really working hard at that right now.
Are they?
Really? They're
That's
not in
weird.
Multnomah County then.
They're redoing all of the Lake Grove district, which is where I live. The I-5 side of Lake Oswego is called Lake Grove.
Okay.
And that whole Boones Ferry Road that runs all the way up towards Portland, the Lake Grove end of it is being redeveloped. And there have been a lot of fights. We've had some tree fights recently.
I bet.
I mean, what's funny, in Multnomah County, you can't take down you're not supposed to take down a tree that's over 6 or 8 inches without a permit.
Yeah, well, since the city is the one who's doing it and they're issuing their own permits.
They're like, yeah, we don't care.
No,
But
they
that-
don't.
that-
And they actually struck a deal with this developer. I kind of felt sorry for him. It was one of our neighbors who had spoken to him. And he said that they allowed him to keep some of the larger trees, but they're going to make him cut down some of the smaller ones. And he didn't want to do that. But
Oh,
Something in the land development deal that he had to sign with them, there was some tree clause. So they're kind of assholes. I'm not a big fan of the city of Lake Oswego, even though I'm on their fringes.
so when they built the houses behind us, we have a row of firs and cedars, and they're all full grown, I don't know, 50 to 100-year-old. And they came in before, and not on our side of the property, but on the other side, and put out chain link fence that was 8 to 10 feet away from the trees so that they would not like dig up any of the roots.
Mm.
Yeah, that's really good. They do that here
Yeah.
too for the trees that are under protection.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that goes to the wayside if the county or the city really wants to do something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Wow, a big turnout yesterday, and then
Yep. Here we go.